Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Redmen TV and a rather impromptu Liverpool news show. My name is Dan Clubb. I'm delighted to be joined by Chloe Bloxham. Not advertised Chloe Bloxham in this one, but here you are anyway. Chloe, how are we?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain. Hope everybody else at home, at work, whatever you're doing, is also well. And ultimately, why wouldn't you be? Because the Reds stand just 1 point away from Premier League glory because Arsenal last night, Chloe, conspired to only draw with Crystal Palace. We're going to do half an hour or so of just chat, really, and catch up and talk about some of the news stories, talk about what potentially awaits on Sunday. But we'll start with last night, shall we? Do feel free to get involved in the chat, of course, as you always do. Happy? A bit disappointed? Were you prepared for it to be last night, the night? Yeah, how are we feeling?
It was a strange watch because half of me wanted us to win it and Anfield to have its moment on Sunday. But then when Mateta gets that second goal, everything inside, you can't control your emotions and the way you react. And I went absolutely mental for that Mateta goal. What I will say is that it feels massively different from having to go against Spurs and win. And I think all of us...
In a good or bad way, though?
Yes, in a good way.
Okay, interesting.
Because I feel like there just is some pressure on it a little bit still. Like sometimes I think we could easily beat Spurs and I think we'd have beat them either way had Arsenal have won and got over the line. But there's just less pressure on it. Like the lads can go and enjoy themselves. They don't need to look at this game of a must win. We need to win. Okay. That's what we need, the 3 points to go over the line. It would have
felt like a must win.
It is like go and enjoy the day. Let's go and win because ultimately even if we draw this game of football, we've won the league. Let's go and enjoy it. So yeah, it feels massive. And I think I tweeted last night, I've thought we were going to win the league for a long, long time, but it just felt like you've had to wait ages. And I think last night was the first time where I realised, and it sunk in, that, my God, we can actually, like, that's when it hit me, like, we'll become Premier League champions on Sunday.
This is real. Yeah.
And I think it's just because for ages we've thought it, but it's been so far away just mathematically that you've not been able to be in the moment, where now it's like, my word, 1 point. And on Sunday, we're there.
It's as touching distance can be. I mean, a point's like, short of that, is you get beaten, you win it, which obviously is impossible. But yeah, I must admit, I was quite up for the pressure and the jeopardy of needing to win, because as much as I use those words that sound quite dramatic, they would have existed, but only for a bit, because whatever would have happened, we'd have had 4 more opportunities to go and do it. So there would have been a little bit of that, and there would have been sort of the dream scenario, jeopardy more than anything. Because I think Sunday is the dream scenario. I've said it for a little while now. It's at Anfield. It's Spurs, who are Arsenal's biggest rivals. It's a pretty big club. It's a pretty big team as well. You're doing it against somebody proper. It's not like, with all due respect, Southampton are coming to, you know what I mean? It isn't. It's a big side. They're not rivals, but we've had some good battles, Champions League final recently, you know what I mean? So it had all that calibre aspect to it as well. So yeah, I was quite up for needing to win to get the job done, I'll be honest with you. But I'll take the 1 point required, obviously.
But like, win it anyway. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we're going to go into it bouncing anyway.
And I think we will.
Not from our point of view, but I think from a player's point of view, it's just less pressure, because we don't know what it's like to play in that moment. And we're all sat here going, the Reds will do it, like, it's absolutely sound. We've got several games, even if we don't do it, to get over the line. But like, going into that game, all that was going to be spoken about was Liverpool win today. They've done it, and it just adds a little bit more pressure onto the players. And look, players love pressure, otherwise you wouldn't be playing for Liverpool.
Pressure's for tires, Chloe. Pressure's for tires.
But at the same time, I think it can just be a more relaxed game of football from Liverpool. And look, if Spurs want to score in the first couple of minutes for you to feel like we need to come from behind and have some more jeopardy, then you can tell them.
I love it. I live for the jeopardy.
Challenge.
Well, my mate. You're going to be obviously be in the ground on Sunday. Like, Liverpool, synonymous with brilliant atmospheres, certainly on particular nights, particular occasions. This in itself.
Oh
right
my,
now,
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Adverts everywhere.
This in itself now is an occasion. It's an occasion in waiting, if you like. You know what I mean? We're all anticipating, preparing for it. You know what I mean? What are you expecting atmosphere-wise?
I'm wondering how early people are going to go, to be honest. Okay. Because the most important thing is Like, you want to remember this day. So a load of people will want to celebrate and go out. But what I'm there for is to walk around the streets of Anfield and just see it flooded. And that's all I want to see. I just want to see people enjoying themselves, having a laugh with the mates, knowing that today's going to be the day. I want it to be absolutely going off with atmosphere. I want us to be singing the songs. Remember the end of last season where we just went through every single player?
The whole songbook, like.
Like every single player that had a song, that got sung. That's what I want. I want us to dance through every song that we've got possible. And I don't want there to be a single second in that ground where Liverpool aren't singing. Act as if it's a Champions League semi-final where you get in an hour before and you start singing. Before Manchester City, before Roma in that 18-19, was it? Or 17-18, you'd get in the ground 45 minutes before and it'd be bouncing. You'd be singing the songs. That's what I want. I want us to be walking into our turnstiles, singing. I want it to feel like this is the day. And we've not been able to celebrate a Premier League title in person before. So I think everyone needs to basically go for it with the songbook. But yeah, I'm expecting it to be absolutely mental. I'm trying to figure out if you'll be able to move. That's another thing.
I was just going to ask you, and you touched upon it there, but I'll ask you anyway. Like, I agree, the renditions of the songs for the players, but I actually want the old songs. I want the historical type, your Salisbury Hills and all that sort of stuff. Liverpool House. I want that. That's what I'm after.
I've got a question for you.
Go for it, please do.
Full-time whistle goes, we win the league. What's George playing? I think he needs to give us a little minute, by the way, to sing our songs before he puts on a belter.
That's a great question.
But what is that belter going to be? Not 19 Forever.
That'd be a really smart choice. That's probably the choice.
Everyone go and learn that song right now, just in case.
The Cortina's Not 19 Forever. It's actually a banger, regardless. You know what I mean? Good, but it has even more poignancy right now. I agree. You just said it there. We'll sort of carry on talking about what Sunday might feel like, and then we'll move on to some other topics. But let us know in the chat how you're sort of preparing yourself for it. But you're significantly younger than me, Chloe, and even I haven't seen Liverpool win the league in person. We were robbed of it last time. I said this last night on the stream. For you, try if you possibly can and sum up how you might be from a personal point of view in that ground on the day, because last night, you were clearly getting emotionally prepared for what might be then. Didn't happen. The likelihood is it will happen on Sunday. If you can, try and explain, how you're feeling about it all.
It's hard to describe because I think we all know the amount of emotions that we put into football, and it is very much it's the most important of the least important things in life. It is your hobby. It's your passion. It's something that you use as an escape from everyday life. It's seen as a family in terms of the people who you see at the ground. People create friendships from it. It is a massive part of my life, if not the biggest part. I've somehow made a job in it as well. So to explain what I'll be like is extremely overwhelmed. I'll definitely cry. I don't think I'll be able to take it in the moment. I think I'll have to reflect on it. But as soon as that whistle goes at full time and Liverpool are 3-0 up, I think I will break down,
I agree. Just embrace it. And that's for everyone, by the way, honestly. Just try and live in the moment as much as we all possibly can, but it's going to be, hopefully, really, really glorious and really, really special. Couple of bits of business, one second. I just want to deal with this super chat as well. I don't want that to happen, ultimately. Liverpool, if Arsenal win the Champions League, I have no interest in that whatsoever.
PSG.
Yeah, PSG.
Inter? Wouldn't even mind Inter.
Yeah, just about okay with PSG doing
Anybody else?
In terms of what could happen next, guards of honour I'm referring to here. Which one are you most excited about? Arsenal? Chelsea? Because I think there's the Arsenal factor, considering they've been our challengers, in inverted commas. Chelsea, we got a historical rivalry with them, of course, and there's Caicedo added to the mix, which adds a little bit of spice to it for me. Which one are you most looking forward to seeing?
Arsenal, for the main reason of I feel like their fan base is the most insufferable.
Fair, absolutely fair.
And also, I reckon there is a couple of dickheads in that squad, I won't lie. Probably fueled by Arteta. So I'd be interested to see if anyone does a Bernardo Silva.
Yes, and just snubs it, yeah.
Because
I don't know if they're quite that level, personally. I think they are, it's what you said, but I'm not quite sure the Bernardo Silva realms of
I don't know, I reckon David Raya would have something in it.
Well, we'll find out.
But either way, I mean, it'd also just be nice to hear someone ask Arteta, you've finally given up on the Premier League now, and see what his reply is. Yeah.
Let's see what he says. One last bit of housekeeping from last night. Crystal Palace's tweet post-match. They simply tweeted, "You're welcome, Liverpool." I can only assume Nathaniel Klein got hold of the admin's phone and put that out there. So that was nice, I thought, of them to acknowledge that.
Big fan of Palace.
Well, we've come unstuck against Crystal Palace in the past, I think it's fair to say. So it was nice of them to actually do us a mini favour, although I'm not entirely sure it was required.
And also, I hate their ground. Their ground's the worst ground in terms of trying to watch a football game.
Viewing-wise,
but atmosphere-wise, yes. I do enjoy their away end for atmosphere.
Yeah, their ultras are decent. Super chat before we move on. Sam says, would you bring Klopp out to hand the trophy over to Virg, or does that undermine Arne? Chloe Bloxham?
No, I wouldn't. For me, it's just not Klopp's day. I absolutely adore the man.
Do you think it's... I'm going to ask you this in two parts. I'm going to say, Kenny obviously handed it to Jurgen. Yeah. Kenny's a Liverpool king, let alone legend. He supersedes the word.
There'd been a long
that's
time.
The difference. The reason I mention it is because he did it, and he was the last manager to win it. But the 30 years had elapsed. With this, not even 30 months have elapsed. You know what I mean? Is that what it is? Is that why?
Yeah. Okay. I think it is the fact that, like, look, he rebuilt the team, and that's partly, well, it's all of his squad, isn't it, aside from Chiesa. But at the same time, Slaughter's done this in his first season,
and I think Jurgen
and all
will,
the credit should go to that. Yeah. And like you've just said there, Jurgen would not want it. There's a reason why Jurgen's not really shown up when, anything post-City, when you pretty much knew we were going to do it. There's a reason why he's not shown up. It's because he doesn't want to take the attention away from the squad. Hopefully he'll be there in some capacity on Sunday. He might just hide for a little bit, and then you'll see him celebrating. But handing it over, like, I'd love them to have a moment, but maybe not that moment, just because it'd feel like... And look, Slot can credit Jurgen, as we all will.
Yeah, I think Arne will, because that's the sort of man he is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I agree.
But at the same time, I think it should be Arne Slot and this Liverpool squad.
If somebody is handing over, do you think you should go Kenny again? If it's not Richard Masters, the CEO of the Premier League, or whatever, you know what I mean?
You can do Kenny again.
Okay, interesting.
Gerrard, he didn't win it.
Oh, that's a shout I did not expect to hear.
Well, I mean...
Super chat, Russell Bland, which is a fantastic name. Party at Anfield and indeed all over the world on Sunday. You never walk alone. Happy 20th Liverpool
Got another
fans
question for you.
Everywhere. Go on.
So I was thinking this last night. If Arsenal would have lost last night, what time is this City falling asleep?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because...
Oh, last night you mean?
No, but now I'm talking about Sunday. Because you can imagine that loads will be out probably midday. So you'll have been going midday, the kickoffs are 4. Yeah. You then got 2 hours watching the game, 6:30. So there's
You're not getting out of the stadium until 7:30.
There, yeah. What time are people starting to...
Yeah. The school night, innit? The school night. Still.
It is, yeah.
I mean, trust me to be all the responsible one. But I think 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
I reckon for anyone who has kids who's a massive Liverpool fan, you can just...
What? Just no school Monday.
Didn't happen.
Never happened. Okay. I actually think the weekend where we get the title, the final weekend of the season, the actual trophy, I think that might go, because that's a bank holiday Monday.
Yeah.
And parade day. That's a different kettle of fish altogether. Like,
I know, but how many people have booked off? Like, I literally looked in the group chat last night. My entire family have booked off Monday.
Monday. That's smart. Yeah. That's really smart.
My sister was like, booked it off. Matt, booked it off. Everybody's booked it off.
In that circumstance, there is no time. There is no bedtime. But I do think that final game of the season, that is just from Friday, like 5 o'clock, clocking off time Friday, whatever time you're done, early dark Friday, whatever, until Monday, 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. That is just, Liverpool's going to be a wash.
Free for all.
Oh, mate, because you got us doing what we're doing, clearly. You've got the big weekender in Sefton Park. Like Liverpool is going to be nuts. Absolutely nuts. Do come and get involved. So let's do some transfer stuff, shall we, while we're here. Dean Huijsen has been the big sort of topic of conversation over the past 24 hours. David Lynch added a bit of fuel to the fire by suggesting Liverpool are keen to trigger the release clause on him. Chloe Bloxham, initial thoughts on the player?
Big fan. I was surprised that he left Juve to go to Bournemouth, to be honest. But yeah, really enjoyed watching him. He's got this swagger about him from just a young age that, you know, he's got the confidence that you need to play at a high club, but also he's not a dickhead, which means, you know, he's great for us. He's got loads of time to learn. He's already a boss footballer. And like you said there, 50 million is not loads of money in this day and age. We know how good Bournemouth are at developing players as well, because we want a certain left back from them. So if we could somehow do a double sweep for them, there's, you know, your centre half sorted, and hopefully him next to Virgil and Canate and being around them and being, you know, led by them, hopefully he can turn into an unbelievable centre half. But he's already had a pretty decent season in the Premier League, hasn't he?
He has, and that Premier League, you know, proven element of it now, because I reckon there would have been a lot of clubs, perhaps even Liverpool, taking a look at Dean Huijsen when he was at Juve, because obviously the pedigree was there. I think he spent some time at Rome as well. There was clear, you know, potential and talent, but loads of clubs might have looked at him and not quite taken the plunge, waiting to see what his next move looked like. And his next move clearly has been Bournemouth. Don't quite know how involved Richard Hughes was in that. I don't think he actually brought him to the Premier League, but he will have scouted him, you would imagine. His Serie A links are deep too. But now we've seen what that move did and how it evolved and how he's coped with the demands and the rigours and the intensity of the Premier League. And it's been fantastic. Only 20, as you mentioned as well.
How many games has he played?
He's played 31 times this season, all comps, which again is pretty impressive, I would say, for somebody so young in what has been a very impressive Bournemouth side as well. You mentioned the release clause there, 50 million. Liverpool historically like release clauses because it cuts out any negotiation times, really. You only then have to sort of negotiate and potentially barter into when you pay it and how you pay it, I guess. But there's a lot to like. There's a hell of a lot to like about the player. There's a lot to like about the potential deal. There's a lot to like about doing business with Bournemouth, I think it's fair to say, given the Richard Hughes' links there as well. So, yeah, I'm a fan. One interesting angle I did want to sort of get your thoughts on was there's reports yesterday suggesting that Bournemouth might be interested in Kevin Kelleher, Ben Doak and Harvey Elliott as sort of a... You can't really include a make weight because of the release clause, but if you include Milos Kerkez in the equation, if we are going to be doing this double swoop with Bournemouth, they want someone in return. When it comes to those three that I've just mentioned there, who would you be comfortable with letting go and not?
I think the player they'd want the most is Harvey Elliott, and he'd be the least likely I would to give him away. I don't want Harvey Elliott going anywhere, I'll be honest. I think it'd be ridiculous of Liverpool to do such a thing. I think he's got so much quality. And yeah, I don't think Slot thinks he fits this system, or maybe he's just not physical or tall enough. But ultimately, there's been times this season where a game screamed out for Harvey Elliott from the start and from the bench. And he's came on and he's impacted it and he's done as much as he can. And I think he deserves more game time. And hopefully, with more players coming in the summer and us getting rid of some players as well, hopefully that means that Harvey Elliott gets his chance, because I remember in pre-season, he was pretty incredible as well. So I'd really like to keep him. As for Ben Doak's been out injured for a little while. He's done well in the Championship this season. However, I know you're a massive fan of him. But
I think he's got something to do. I think he's got something.
I would. Kelleher, I'd let go, because even though I don't want him to really... He's going to go.
And Bournemouth feels like quite an inoffensive move,
nice,
really.
Yeah. And he'll be great for them. They play some really good football as well. Arita Balaga's only on loan still.
Yeah, and he's better than Arita Balaga anyway.
Yeah, by far.
So it makes sense.
But he's actually done quite well this season. So Kelleher is the one I can be like, oh, well, you know, it's lovely for everybody involved. Ben Doak, I'd like to see more of him, but at the same time, I just don't know whether he's going to get that chance, which therefore means if this is going to get me Kerkez and Huijsen, then we're going to have to do that deal. Harvey Elliott, I wouldn't go anywhere near selling.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And the Ben Doak stuff's interesting, obviously, for me, because again, I think he is a very, very talented young lad, and he's got, I've said this a million times, he's got something you just can't teach, and that's raw pace. He's electric. Like, he really, really is. But I do wonder, had he not got the bad injury this end of the season about 2 months ago, he basically tore his thigh badly. I seen him not long ago on crutches. I do wonder what his future might have looked like, and maybe have a different conversation about him.
And he's young, and that's 2 massive injuries he's had, really. And that's just, sadly, it's not a good look. And also, he can come back from it.
You're right. When you are as dynamic and as reliant on pace, that is a problem. We've seen it with Michael Owen. I know Michael, we don't like to talk about him per se here, but injuries ruined him eventually, you know what I mean? Because he had turn of pace,
Daniel
sharp.
Sturridge was incredible.
Yeah.
By the end of his career, he couldn't run, really.
Yeah. He could dance, but he couldn't run.
Yeah, that's true. But like, his pace was electric. He was one of the fastest lads I'd seen up front. And after so many injuries, it was like he was scared to move.
And again, Ben Doak, he can't afford to afford to go into that particular category. Okay, so you're saying Kevin Kelleher, yes, we can do a little deal there.
Yeah, okay. He's got to go somewhere, Annie, and I'd rather him go there than the likes of Chelsea or anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. And then Ben Doak also, we can have a conversation about, but Harvey Elliott, hands off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so fascinated by the Harvey Elliott thing this summer, honestly.
Same.
I think it's
so... Do you reckon he's gone?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
Who?
I do. I'm not sure who to. There was interest in Brighton at one point. I think Premier League probably will be his destination, yeah. But honestly, I think he's so good that he needs to play. And if promises can't be made that he'll play more, and if we want to, I think we might sign a 10.
I just don't think Dom has been...
No, I agree. I think
someone needs to challenge Dom, and I don't think Harvey Elliott's being given the chance. It's Curtis Jones who got given that chance.
Yeah.
Even though Harvey Elliott played that kind of role in pre-season. But I feel you're losing someone dynamic who offers something different in Harvey Elliott. He's forward thinking, he's quick passing, he comes on the ball, and he loves to find the gaps and break the lines, where sometimes a lot of our play is measured. It's side to side, and we'll keep moving you until the space comes, which is perfect. But then when you're chasing a game and you bring on Harvey Elliott, he's just a different dynamic. He's quick with what he does. And yeah, I've enjoyed seeing him every time he's came on the pitch. I mean, Fulham, he nearly won us that game, even though we lost it. But like, he nearly won it us, and yet he was on the pitch for not long.
Oh, he has an impact every time he gets on. And I think to give him all the credit in the world, which I'll do all the time because I love Harvey Elliott, I think he has forced his way back into Arne Slot's thinking, but not necessarily his plans. And by that I mean, when Arne Slot's thinking about his first 11 to start any game, i.e. Sunday, I don't think Harvey Elliott's really in consideration.
No.
But if a game isn't going our way, or flip side of that is we're seeing out a game and we've got like 10 minutes to go, then Harvey Elliott, because there's a point in the season whereby I don't think Harvey Elliott was even in that reckoning, you know what I mean? So it's tough because, again, we've seen how brilliant he can be, and we've seen how much of talent he is, and also he's a vet and he gets it, and we love him for that. But Arne Slot is a ruthless manager, and Arne Slot's shown already that he only has 13 players that he really trusts.
The only thing I would say is, though, is that I reckon there's going to be a decent amount of departures this summer. Like, why get rid of him if... Like, if you're going to need a striker. I'm sorry, you need a striker.
We know that, yeah.
So you're already going to be spending big on that. I just feel like to replace Harvey Elliott, to me, is a £50 million player. Who are you replacing him with? Like, he's not a starting 11 player, but he's a valuable bench player that I reckon Liverpool could get 50 mil for. Yeah,
I did want that.
And who are you replacing that with? You're not spending 50 mil on a bench player.
No, you can't. You can never go and buy.
So who are you getting to replace
players.
Harvey Elliott to do that?
I just wonder whether Liverpool will look to go. Now, listen, I don't know whether Liverpool are going to make a marquee signing this summer. That would be Alexander Isak.
It's got to be. You've got a striker has to be a marquee.
No, it
signing.
is, but I don't think it's. When I say marquee, I'm talking £100 million plus. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 in the region of Dean Huijsen's 50 million to 70, and maybe a couple less than that as well. You can find some really smart business somewhere. So maybe the upgrade, because I think there's a few upgradable positions is kind of the point I'm making. We need a right back, clearly. What that looks like, I'm not entirely sure. Left back is upgradable. That's where Kirkhead comes in for me. Dean Huijsen is just the addition to the centre-back department because Joe Gomez, who knows what happens there. The striker is the biggie, as you say, because I think Darwin goes, there's major question marks about Diogo Jota's future still, but maybe you do something for, again, 60, 70 million pounds there.
Also, we still need a backup for Salah because Chiesa is not favoured.
Well, Chiesa may will leave himself. I do think a versatile forward who can play across the front three might come in as well.
So Federico Chiesa.
Yeah, but he's just not that, is he? Well, he is that, but he clearly isn't at the same time. But yeah, the 10, I wonder whether, what I'm saying, we might look at the 10 in the same way and go and sign one. Because Dom's got all the athleticism, running power, ability to cover ground, but he hasn't got the finesse and the output the Slot wants, clearly. Harvey Elliott has got all the other stuff, but not the other stuff. Someone like Morgan Rogers.
I love Morgan Rogers.
That might be the answer because I think he's a perfect combination of the two things. And you go and he's homegrown as well, which helps because there's quota things to worry about here. Go and do that for 60 million. That's another
thing with Harvey Elliott. People might sit there and say 50 mil for Harvey Elliott, but he's racked up 100 Premier League appearances for Liverpool. How old is he?
21, I think,
over 100 Premier League appearances for Liverpool. He's English, which is massively important for the Greater. He's really technically gifted as well. And
I don't want to sell him, but I'm just looking at where Slots.
No, but what I'm saying is why Liverpool would demand so much money for him is because this market's ludicrous anyway. He doesn't have a release clause that he put in his contract when he signed it, which means therefore people can't come and just pay something that was in there. And you're going to be paying for the English quota. Paying for the fact that he just has been in a Liverpool shirt. I'm sorry, but like that adds value to things. And
he'll be a 2-time title winner by the time that comes around, and he'll have played, a part in this one in particular. Xavi Simons is another one who's mentioned here, actually by Gerard Williams, who's been linked. I like the player. To be fair, I do like the player, but I think Morgan Rogers would be my preference. Let's quickly do outgoings and incomings then, if you don't mind. We'll start to wrap up with that because for me, Trent, pretty much nailed on at this point, I would say. One of the left backs leaves.
Costas.
Yeah, Costas, I agree. One of the centre backs leaves. Yeah.
Quansah.
You think Quansah goes? Okay. And so Joe Gomez?
He's used Joe Gomez more, is the only thing I'd say. I don't think he trusts Quansah, is my problem. Okay. I would not sell Quansah, by the way. I think he's had a tough season, but I think he's shown. I think he's shown in previous seasons that he actually will be up for the task.
One of them two leaves. One of them two, not both.
Maybe Quansah goes out on loan then.
Okay, interesting.
I don't think he trusts Quansah. And if Joe Gomez is fit, Joe Gomez is put on the pitch 9 times out of 10 for me from slot.
Interesting. Okay, that if
at
fit,
either right back or
centre.
Is doing
a lot of heavy lifting, though, isn't it? I listen. They sound unfair. I love Joe Gomez, but facts be facts.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? How long's he been missing now? Like a good couple of months.
It was West Ham. It was December.
Yeah, and I just don't know whether you can rely upon him. And also, he might want to go somewhere and be a regular if he can keep himself fit. You know what I mean? Okay, so one of them two leaves. I think that's fine. We'll move into the midfield. We know about the goalkeeper department. We don't need to address that. Will take care of itself. We imagine Callagher. We'll move on. In the DM...
I forgot that Mamardashvili was coming in.
He is, yeah. In the DM role, obviously Gravenberch has been...
We need to add another one.
So at the minute, it looks like with Taro Endo, it looks like a little bit of James McConnell in cups, really. Yeah. That's how it's been this season. Adding to it, I think, is important. Yeah. I wouldn't have it to priority, but I think it's important. What I would say, and I made this point last night a few times, is because of all the business we need to do, we mentioned a few key areas already, do we just allow Stefan Pacetis to come back in and be that option? Your face tells me no.
I just don't know where he's at, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. He's been really impressive for a few weeks for Las Palmas.
For a few weeks.
Honestly, that's as honest as I can be with you.
I just enjoyed the few weeks part.
That's the facts. Because he wasn't impressive at all.
No.
But then he played against Getafe and was really good, and Atletico Madrid recently and was really good as well. And if I can cast your mind back to when he walked into Liverpool side, albeit in a midfield that had ran out of legs, he was brilliant.
He was. Once again, then it's whether Slot trusts him. We don't know what that actually looks like. And there was, wasn't it, however many months ago we sat here and we were talking about the fact that Slot was willing to sell Stefan Pacetic, and we were nearly losing our heads about it.
Yeah.
Like,
we've done the right thing in loaning him.
Slot might just not fancy him either.
But does that not add to... I agree with everything you're saying, by the way, but does that not add to the sheer amount of work that needs doing?
Oh, yeah, by far.
So I personally...
I need someone else in that role. I need someone who's going to challenge Ryan Gravenberch.
Okay, I like that. That's fair enough. I again...
Because,
I
let's
think
be
Stefan might be the
honest,
answer.
he was our... I'm trying to think of when it was up to. Start of the season, he was incredible. Since then... It's been like McAllister's McAllister's the one who's came out looking incredible, and that's just because the lad's shattered. Like Ryan Gravenberch is shattered.
No, like 100. He said himself, didn't he? Recently, he's been tough about it.
He said after the game, he was
like,
"It's tough. I didn't play. I hardly played last season, and this season I'm playing every single game.
Yep.
He needs help because we don't want him injured either. He's so good."
Preaching to the choir, my friend. Walkoff says expecting over 100 million spent. I'm expecting double that and then some personally, but I take your point.
I mean, and he's 100 mil just on a striker.
Yeah, quite possibly. Angelo Silva is mentioned here. Obviously, it's Stuttgart. I do like the look of him. Carlos Baliba is also mentioned, as is Adam Wharton. I like both players. I like all three of the players we just mentioned. If we deem Stefan isn't the answer, I think one of those three would be mine.
So how much are you going to spend?
Yeah, of course.
Adam was at 100 mil, wasn't it? 100 mil last summer for Wharton.
Yeah, you've got Premier League tax on Wharton. Brighton always demands premium for their players, unless it's Lexi McAllister, of course, and Angelo Stiller. He'd be the affordable choice. Obviously, Bundesliga. We like signing for the Bundesliga. So,
we do.
Interesting stuff. Okay, we'll move slightly ahead. We've done the 10 already, so we don't need to talk about that. Just to get a final say on it, though, you would keep Harvey Elliott, keep Szoboszlai, keep Jones, and let it be?
No, I want someone else challenging Dom, to be honest.
Okay.
I just don't think there's enough output from that position.
There isn't.
And I think sometimes it goes a little bit missing.
Yeah.
That's what I will say.
And I don't think we addressed the right back. You want to sign a right back?
I think it's different. I do want to. Okay. I think it's different just to help Conor Bradley out, because I don't think he can play every single game. I think it's different, that number 10 position, because with an actual decent striker, like an actual number 9. Up top, maybe the role changes. And maybe it's 30 goals from Salah and 25 goals from Isak. Let me live in that world. And then 10 goals from an attacker midfielder is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I agree. But is Dom capable of that?
I don't know, is the problem. I don't think he is.
Everything and this is a point here, and I think it's a valid one.
I think you're only going to be able to do so much this summer. You might have to wait till December.
It's going to be a big summer, though.
January or the summer after.
To address that.
To address the smaller things, which...
Okay.
Interesting.
So, just finally then, who is the striker?
It's not Darwin Núñez.
No, of course not. But
how much are we getting for Darwin Núñez?
We might cost us 4.3 more million before he goes anyway.
Honestly, he wouldn't even be in my squad. I'm not wasting 4.3 million on playing him again.
Well, it's starting. He's to start a game for that.
He is going to win the Premier League, though. So
yeah, not half. Yeah, he is.
Do we have to pay any money for that?
I don't know. I've not heard that. We got Osimhen or Delap.
No, Osimhen. How old's Osimhen now? Maybe like 3 years ago.
Not sold on Osimhen. Liam Delap. He can't be the first choice, Liam Delap, can he?
Good player.
Yeah,
really
he's a good player, but he needs...
Not for Liverpool now.
He needs a middle step before that, in my opinion. Somebody mentioned Jonathan David. I'd take him on a free, but he can't be the first choice either. We've got Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, the things I'd do for Julian Alvarez to be my striker, I absolutely adore. Even at City, I remember sitting there and just thinking, he's a joke of a footballer. Like, he didn't even play as often, and he just racked up goals everywhere. He's so skillful. I also love another Argentinian in the squad, I won't lie. Okay. Yeah, I'd love him, but I don't think he'd want to leave Spain.
No, perhaps not. He's been there a year. Last summer he went, doesn't he?
And he's doing quite good for them.
Yeah, he's a brilliant player. Brilliant. And he's got Premier League experience as well. So Benjamin Sesko is mentioned.
I saw this last 40 shots compilation and thought maybe not.
Okay, no, it's a fair point. He'd be...
He's gone off the ball.
It's difficult to know what he wants, isn't it? Ultimately, does he want the facilitator because of Salah, or does he want the 9 to be a 9? I think if he wants a 9 to be a 9, Sesko is in that conversation. I think Ekitike might be more the former conversation, but it's a fascinating conversation to have.
Who would you go for? I mean, we've not mentioned Isak, and that is my
Isak is clearly the answer.
Happen,
of course he is, yeah. It just feels out the realms. And me and Elle spoke about this last night, and how much time do you waste on Isak whilst all the other options are getting signed elsewhere, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what you've got to be careful
If I was to choose and it wasn't Isak, I think I'd go Julian Alvarez.
I agree. Somebody here, Braceville, would go Victor Gyökeres. Haven't got a clue. Poignantly goes
Can I just
Hoyland,
say...
but I haven't got a clue. So, you know, yeah.
On the Victor Gyökeres one,
yeah.
The only problem is that I'm just picturing Darwin Núñez again, because Darwin Núñez was incredible for that one season in
that league.
And then...
Yeah, good point. I mean, I just
everyone must think I hate Darwin Núñez. It's not that. It's just like, now is the time.
Yeah, I do want this though, Chris. That's accurate. I feel like maybe not 12. 12 might be overkill.
Maybe 5.
I think
6.
I think 5 in. 6,
left back?
6 out this summer.
Left back?
Yeah. Left back definitely. Right back definitely. Centre back definitely.
Striker definitely.
Striker definitely. Another additional forward who can put players.
Can I ask another question? Do you reckon Diaz will stay or go? Because there's still been stuff about him. Not
there always is, isn't there? I think he goes.
Do you?
Mainly because I think
what are we doing there then?
There'll be interest in him. And I don't know whether Liverpool this summer are a bit of a tipping point with crossroads with Diaz. You've either got to double down and give him a new deal, or you've got to sell him. I'm not sure we are convinced enough to give him that new deal. He's going to have 2 years left on his contract, and he's going to want a big old pay rise with it. I don't know whether Liverpool believe that to be the right thing to do.
So in my head, then we're losing Chiesa, we're losing Núñez, and we're losing Diaz then from the front
possibly
three.
Jota.
And possibly Jota. I'm not going to lie, all 4 of them can't go.
Okay.
Because how am I...
It's massive upheaval.
How am I...
Dealing with that? So you got Gakpo, Salah left.
Yeah.
You have to sign 3.
But one of them's your number 9, who...
Your main number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, isn't it?
On top of a left back.
This is the team that's about to win the Premier League, by the way.
A right back, a centre half.
I know.
At least we don't need another goalkeeper.
Someone to challenge Salah's mentioned here, and I agree with that as well. Not challenge, yes.
And unless Elliott steps up, Elliott's not a winger. Like, no one wants to see him there.
No, I agree.
I've no idea who that was because I've never seen anyone spell
Chiesa. I know,
like
that was mad, wasn't it? Yeah, but I don't think we keep Chiesa personally. Why would you keep Chiesa? What are you keeping him for?
I mean, I'd have loved to have seen more of him, but clearly
I like
someone doesn't rate him.
But Slot, the manager, doesn't rate him clearly, as you say. So, anyway,
you know what he'll always have though? That little running moment at Brentford away.
He'll have that.
That is.
He might not have a Premier League medal, but he'll have that.
That little moment with his arms up, running away. How many more appearances does he need for that?
1. I'll tell you what he has. He's been a joy.
Stop being an ass and give him another.
He's been a joy to have. Isn't he just always dead happy? I
just want to see him celebrate, because I think he'll be great at that.
He might celebrate regardless. He's just a really happy individual, which I think's nice. Nice trait to be.
Yeah.
Nice attribute to have. But what he doesn't do is play a lot of football.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll do. Chloe, thank you. Enjoyed that.
No worries.
Thanks for getting involved in the chat. As usual, we will be back with the Umbu tomorrow. Liverpool.
Do you want to also explain what's happening Sunday? Because
where'd you start?
Exactly. Just
nuts.
Like everyone be prepared.
Sunday's a thing that's happening, and it's happening in a big way. We will be. Somebody asked about Ben Doak being ready. Actually, I'll just quickly address that because they've asked me again. He's injured. No, he's not ready. Pre-season will be interesting with him, but yeah, I think if he'd have carried on playing the way he was at Middlesbrough, we might have had a different conversation about it, but he's been injured for like 2 months, so no. Sunday. Sunday. We'll be live, usual, and possibly for the rest of time then, like 10 hours. Chloe, etc. will be at the ground, getting all the content from there. Yeah. We'll be in the studio.
So if you are at the ground,
come along.
You know.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Do enjoy it. Dan will be pottering about somewhere.
We don't quite know where I'll be yet, which is exciting, isn't it? But yeah, we'll deal with that as and when. But honestly, thanks for getting involved in this chat. Thanks if you watched last night as well. I enjoyed that as well. But yeah, enjoy your Thursday afternoons, enjoy your Fridays, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.